the greater the spiritual wisdom gained through the learning of the consciousness, the more the spirit itself determines its future, its return, and its subsequent activities. Since I am also a prophet and know the future, I tell you that I shall return as representative of God for the purpose of instructively rendering judgment over all those who live according to false teachings and who degrade the wisdom of the Spirit. Therefore the words of truth will be harsh and without mercy, and many a person will seethe in rage because of them. The harsh words of truth themselves will be the instructive judgment and penalty for all those who live according to false teachings and degrade the wisdom of the Spirit. Since the Pharisees were together, Gamaliel asked them, "What do you think about me? Whose son am I?" They said, "The son of David." But he spoke to them, "How can I be the son of David, when he has been dead for a long time and I was begotten by Gabriel, the guardian angel? And haven't you read that David called me Lord when he said, 'The Lord said to my Lord, sit down at my right side, until I can place your enemies beneath your feet, because you are my foster son and my successor.' Since David calls me a Lord, how can I be his son?" And no one could give him an answer, but secretly they said, "He blasphemes God and the prophets. Let's try to catch and kill him, because he endangers our position in that we will no longer be respected by the people." Chapter 24. Against the Scribes and Pharisees. And Gamaliel spoke to the people and the disciples, saying, "The scribes and Pharisees sit on the chairs of the prophets. Refrain, however, from doing and accepting anything they tell you, and also don't act in accordance with their works. They teach you confused teachings, which they and their forefathers have falsified for their own selfish interests. They contrive heavy burdens and place them upon the shoulders of the people, yet they themselves do not want to lift a finger. They do all their works in order to be seen by the people and impress them. They make their prayer belts wide and the tassels on their clothing long. They like to sit at the heads of tables and in the best places in the synagogues. And they like to be greeted in the marketplace and to be called master by the people. But don't let anyone call you master until you have become cognizant of the wisdom of knowledge. And don't let anyone call you teacher until you follow the laws of creation yourselves, because those who allow themselves to be called master and teacher but do not possess the wisdom of knowledge will be denounced as liars. For those who unjustly exalt themselves will be abased, and those who unjustly abase themselves will be disdained. Let those who are great in consciousness consider themselves great, and those who are small in consciousness consider themselves small, and those who are in between in consciousness consider themselves in between. It is unwise and foolish for people to let others consider them greater or smaller than they really are. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you deceivers, hypocrites and swindlers who block the development of people's spirits and consciousness with your lies and false teachings. You will not achieve advancement easily, and through your false teachings you deprive those who wish to advance from doing so. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you deceivers, hypocrites and swindlers, who devour the homes of widows and engage in long prayers for the sake of appearance. Therefore, you shall live in piercing darkness all the longer. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites who travel across land and sea in order to win a fellow believer, and once he becomes one, you turn him into an unreasonable and irrational child who indulges in twice as many false teachings as you. Woe to you, you blind proponents of false teachings who say, if a person swears by the temple, the oath is not valid, but if he swears by the gold on the temple, the oath is binding. You fools and blind people, you are the offspring of evil. Why do you let people swear, knowing that an oath is not binding and is a worthless act? Or you say, if one swears by the altar it is not valid, but if a person swears by the sacrificial offering it is binding. You blind and mistaken teachers, who gave you the right to demand or take an oath, since the laws of creation state that oaths should not be taken? Your words should always be only yes, yes, or no, no. Therefore, those who swear by anything on earth or in the universe swear by something fleeting, which is without permanence. Hence, an oath is also without permanence. And those who swear by creation or its laws swear by something over which they have no power. Therefore, such an oath is also without permanence. Whoever swears by anything therefore commits an offense against the truthfulness of their word and makes it untrustworthy. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites who tithe mint, marrow, dill and caraway seeds but neglect the most important things in the law, namely, justice, freedom of knowledge, and the truth of creation. Thus you ignore the law of love and the laws of logic and justice. Woe to you, you blind leaders of a horde of blind, who say, this should be done and that should not be left undone. You only spread a confused teaching and ignore the laws of creation. You blind leaders, you are gnats and swallow camels, which you cannot digest. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites who keep cups and bowls outwardly clean, yet inside they are full of rapaciousness and greed. You blind ones, you scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites and distorters of the truth, first clean what is inside the cup, so that the outside may become pure and light up with its brilliance. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites who are like whitewashed tombs that appear beautiful on the outside, but inside they are full of stench, bones and filth. So, on the outside you also appear pious and good for the people, while inside you are full of hypocrisy, deceit and transgression. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites who build monuments to the prophets and decorate the graves of the righteous and say, had we lived at the time of our forefathers and fathers, we would not have become guilty with them in the shedding of the prophets' blood. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you deceivers, hypocrites and swindlers. You secretly call upon the dead people of high and of common standing, and you deceive yourselves by misbelieving you are speaking with them and believing in your own delusion. You cannot talk with the dead, and even if you could, the departed could tell you only the erroneous thoughts they previously held during their lifetime. You are not great enough to call upon those dead who have wisdom and can tell the truth. Thus you bear witness against yourselves that you are the children of those who killed the prophets and falsified their teachings. Well then, fill up the measure of your forefathers and fathers. Thus you will end your lives without understanding and will have difficulty learning until the distant future. You brood of snakes and vipers, how can you aspire to be great in spirit and in consciousness when you don't possess any understanding yet? All the righteous blood that was shed by your doing on earth will befall you, beginning with the first prophet your fathers and forefathers murdered, to the blood of Zacharias, the son of Barachias, whom you killed between the temple and the altar, as well as all the blood that will be shed in the future because of your guilt. You will be outcast among human peoples, and then you will alternately lose the land you took by force, regain it and lose it again well into the most distant future.